Good morning. Welcome back. Great. Thank you, Regina, for that. So it's time for us to get into the political arena. Let's fight it together as people. All right. Being the Tuesday, we talk about people and politics, and today is 4th of March 2025. Welcome to the program. I really want to take a look at what is really happening on the front pages, of course, local dailies, with my guest in studio. That is Dr. Peter Mbai, who is a leadership and governance expert, who is prodigal son of Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you, Vika. Thank you for having me.
Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
I don't know where you have been. Please tell us. People who've missed you, they've never seen you for close to 2 years now?
Well, sometime, you know.
Yes.
No, we have been up and down. I was here last, and then we were talking here.
Right.
Then I got a chance to go and implement what we have been talking here, because, you know, talking about policies, in leadership and governance, it's always very nice when you have a chance to actually do, to actually activate what is normally spoken.
Right.
Yeah. So I got that chance for a whole maybe 2.5 years, 3 years or so.
Yes.
To be in the government, the Kenya Kwanza government. I started off as a senior technical advisor in the Ministry of Trade, Investments and Industry, where we did a lot of things on trade, international, all the things about AFCFTA, this thing about making trade work in Africa. Remember, expanding the market, right? That was one. The issue of trade bilateral, you know, with other countries, to make sure the goods from Kenya, you know, have markets across. That was number one. The second thing was investments. Remember, there was a report recently that in Kenya, the investments that came to Kenya for the last 2-3 years surpassed those that came for the entire Africa. Right from South Africa, right from Egypt, right from Nigeria. Kenya was topping in investments that came to Kenya. That's the work that we did. And number 3, industrialization. What is one of the key things that we did was the KIPES, the County Aggregation Industrial Parks. We launched 17 of them. Up to date, those are the ones that were being launched. We launched across the country. We were supposed to do 47. Then we moved to the Ministry of Public Service, where we did reforms on NYS and Huduma Kenya and other things like that. And then we did, for the first time, we went to all the ministries, asking them what they have done. Literally, we moved to every ministry, asking them, what have you done? Tell us, exactly tangible things. What are your achievements and what are you intending to do? For the first time in Kenya, for 23 ministries, we went and submitted the report to the president and the entire cabinet, seated there for 2 days in Naivasha, you remember, that retreat. So that's what we have been doing. But then finally, it was not possible because there's something called, sometimes if you discover there are issues and you are not able to continue serving the best way you would want, then you just quit very peacefully and say, we meet another day. That's what happened. And then we are watching. We're on this other side now.
So you're a good dancer.
I mean,
what point when you leave the stage?
Let me tell you, Vic, when you see somebody with passion, when you see somebody with passion to work, and then you just discover you're not taken very seriously, it hurts. When you have, I'm one of those people who literally believed, coming all the way from, literally from 2018, we believed, I personally believed, that we are going to make this this government work for the people. That was the whole issue. And that's why when I got a chance myself, where I got a chance to work in those ministries, I did my best under the people who are working under, in my best capacity to make sure that this is what we promised as a government, and this is what we must deliver. I was personally. So when you do with all the vigor and energy, you discover then that you're not being taken very seriously by some, because they either fear you or they don't understand you or they think, you know, you are shining and all that. Then it becomes impossible. It was very hurting. And then number 2, there's no delivery, Vic, without an enabling political environment. Peace is very important. Peace and development, they go together. So at some point from June last year, the way politics was being handled in this country, it was not possible to do delivery. It's not possible. And I'll give you an example. There was a president, one of the former presidents, who did a lot of work in infrastructure in this country. But then, when he went and asked what happened during around the 2007-2008, he said, no, we don't want you here. Said, but I have done for you roads. Said, take the road and go away. Why? Because you do a lot of development, but the people are hurting. It's not possible to do development and delivery in a toxic political environment. I am an expert. You can listen to me, take it from me. I'm an expert on delivery. That's what I've done for the last 3 years, literally. And you can see, and delivery simply means moving things from plans to actions, and they can be done, they can be seen. So it's not possible. So I don't want to mess also my career with trying to do things that completely you promise people, they may not work. So the best thing is to say, if you are not able to work in a certain environment because of maybe issues internally, some issues, people begin thinking otherwise, and there's some kind of purge because of maybe where you come from. Okay. Then you just distance yourself, and so here I am. So anybody has a home. So if things don't work here, you go back and home. Try to plan afresh.
What is the general outlook as we speak from your own perspective? What is the general outlook of the country in terms of economic outlook? Are we doing well? What is the rate of success? What is the rate of uptake in terms of production, exports, delivery in different ministries? What is the general outlook?
General outlook, we had done very well until around last year. Things were looking up in a big way.
Right.
On investments, on trade, we had opened many markets, a lot of things, and general the economy. And let me tell you, Vic, when you say the general outlook on the general development of a country,
yes,
it depends on how people feel. It depends on the well-being, on how people feel, the perception. Do we feel hopeful? Do we feel we are going along well? And let me tell you, everything rises and falls on leadership. However much you want to push and say that we are making progress on anything, if people feel they are not being taken seriously, there is a lot of things they don't understand, and the management of leadership and politics is not as good as possible, then there is a harsh moment when people generally feel depressed. However much you try to do things economically and development-wise, if the people don't feel don't have a good feel effect, if the people don't feel that they are being treated well by their leaders, then development and the well-being just suffers. And you see the difference between last year and this year. People they have these two, because what has happened is that because of the way the leadership and politics have been managed from last year, there is a feeling that there is some depression. There is a feeling that people have not been taken seriously. And I can tell you this, for example, you don't go and tell some people from some regions, be happy, we are doing all this, but they feel, but there is a policy that came up, especially how you manage politics. It depends a lot on how the economy drives. It is automatic. You cannot hide that from there. It's a whole cycle. Yeah. Politics and development go hand in hand. Peace and security and development, they go hand in hand. So what is the general outlook? We live in this country. We'd wish the best for ourselves, but the problem is the issue of the policies and programs that we put in place are the ones that determine the direction the country is taking. Policies and programs and how well they're implemented.
We talk, the government is so big on, digital superhighway. Has the invention of digitalization and social media platforms enhanced growth and service delivery in the country from your own experience when you're there? I'll
tell you this. That was supposed to be one of the biggest planks, to drive. And by the digital revolution was meant to be like, there was something has to be there to be driven by the digital. Something has to be there. The content has to be there for it to be driven by the digital. Digital is actually like its name is a superhighway. It's a highway, but to deliver something. So we must have something to be delivered by the superhighway. There must be content. There must be that which you want to deliver. Well, if it's opportunities for jobs, opportunities for business, opportunities for exposure, studies, scholarships, there has to be the content. The whole idea is, what are we delivering? What is it we have? Because the digital space is meant to drive something. It's meant to have something driven. Now, that has been created. So the whole idea is, and the whole trajectory of the whole establishment was, let's get what are we helping, for example, the young people with. Yes. Then we say the best way to do is a digital superhighway, is a digital revolution, which now will enable all these things to happen. Where you sit where you are, you can get opportunities, from across the world, on jobs, on opportunities, on studies, on e-commerce. People want to trade across the world. They can be able to have that right in the villages, right? Yes. Right in the villages, in the wards, in the villages.
What is the success rate?
But by the time we were there, the plans were very good. By late last year, the plans, I say the plans, because everything was on the trajectory. That's how we had planned things to move by the year 2027. Now, how they are currently and what is happening in Vic, maybe there's somebody else who can come and say that.
Very good. Hold it there. All right. Peter Mbai, Daktari, who is a leadership and governance expert. I'm still waiting for Francis Mwangangi, who is the Deputy Governor of Machakos, to join us shortly. He was on his way, but he's received a phone call to respond to something very urgently, but he'll be here nonetheless. Let me take you through the front page of the local dailies. On the front page of the Star newspaper, revealed major cover-up in fake papers inquiry. That is what is here revealed. Major cover-up in fake papers inquiry. That is also on the splash of the Star newspaper. You can take a look at that. Connected people, politicians, relatives survive purge. That is what is here. But still, there is an illustration of what they call a raw deal, where billions down the drain in stalled county projects. And this is, of course, Dr. Mbai, when you talk about government service delivery, GDS, this must have been one of the issues that probably you are working on. When billions down the drain installed county projects, of course, there is an illustration here where Nyandarua County has 681 million, Nakuru County 56.18 million shillings, Bomet is 314.9 million, Samburu 206 million shillings, Kakamega 7.24 billion shillings, Uasin Gishu 1.76 billion shillings, Meru, etc., etc., etc. That is what is on the front page of the Star newspaper. On the front page, what do you make of this? Let me just reveal. You talk of major cover-up in fake papers inquiry. Did you at any given point encounter this in government service delivery? Because now you want to do the vetting, you have to do a lot of, how do you do it? You know, you going through the system one by one to make sure that everything is well aligned. Did you encounter such kind of situations or scenarios?
Definitely. What happened is that the Public Service Commission released a report saying we have in excess of thousands of people with fake certificates. Now, these people are working every day. They are in government offices.
Yes.
They are the ones who are signing. They are signing documents. Remember, with fake certificates. They are signing off money every day. They are in charge of procurement deals in the ministries. And then 2 years later, because and it was on record, the president said that these people should leave office. But so many years later, these people are still working. Most of them are still working. Now, the report you are alluding to is actually Parliament. Parliament. It has not been. It's not been possible to get them out of the office. Now, those are the issues we are talking about, integrity. So when people know other people can go and get jobs because they are connected, because one of the reasons that has made this difficult, because they belong to who is who. It's not easy for you to have it's not easy for a child of somebody, an ordinary Kenyan, to be employed in the first place with the fake papers. It's not possible.
Right.
You'll be subjected to the highest stringent whatever. It's the people who know someone who are able to make calls and they are employed without having substantial papers. So it has been there. For the last 2 years, people are still earning salaries because it has become very impossible. Now, if this is Parliamentary Service Commission, what do you mean? What do you expect of Public Service Commission? This is the Parliament. The headline there is talking mostly about Parliament. Yeah. There's stuff in Parliament. Now, what do you expect of public? Now, what happens? When people see these things happening, they give up. Slowly but surely. People just begin giving up on life generally. Yeah, because this is a Parliament. We have another like 10,000 whose papers are in doubt in the whole public.
Yes.
So, the action that was supposed to be taken has not been taken. Or rather, no report has come. Things are happening, dancing, calling people, and then we are told, okay, now because you don't know an embarrassment, can you quit quietly? What do you do? What about the money? What about the money that somebody, has been paid for 2, 3, 40, 20 years? Once we get it wrong, Victor, let me just say this. Once we get it wrong on the issues on processes and systems and structures, once we cannot have institutional ways of doing things, I can tell you what happens. People give up. The general population just give up. If we cannot have it right on the issues on respecting our processes and systems and institutions, get a system of, for example, of saying how can somebody join public service, and we follow that, I can tell you, people just give up, slowly but surely, and we just eat ourselves. The country just fails. When you say about money being spent, money which has been misappropriated, Victor, I will tell you in one share, because I've had the advantage of serving in the county government for 10 years. Both in the executive of a county government and in the county assembly. Yeah. I can tell you this. There are very weak systems and processes and structures in the counties. Both county and the national government. Very weak systems of knowing how does money move? Who gets money and why? Who gets the contracts? What are the systems? What happens, and that's why you see every day, the Auditor General has been reduced to their own voice. Every time she's releasing reports. Every time but what happens to the reports? Because people know you release reports, somebody will be summoned, governors will be summoned in the Senate, anything will happen there, a lot of drama will happen there, then life continues. So what happens? People are watching and people are getting angry by the day. That is the problem, because you ask yourself, this is money, a lot of the taxpayers' money. And how do you get the tax? Mama Boga goes and buys milk, buys sugar. That is a tax, right? The money comes here. But where the money goes finally, you cannot trace it. Every day, Auditor General, it's so painful. Okay. Today talks about this, tomorrow talks about this. But the question is, what happens after that?
What happens after that is to welcome Deputy Governor of Machakos. Mheshimiwa Mwangangi, karibu.
Asante.
This is Nairobi. You are not known for this. A lot can happen within a split second in Nairobi, so we understand. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
We are talking about what is happening in the country, and privileged to have Dr. Peter Mbai. Dr. Peter Mbai served in the government service delivery system service. He's also leadership and governance expert. Today we want to talk about redefining leadership and what we have as far as doctrine is concerned. But first of all, as we usually do, taking through the front page of local dailies, revealed major cover-up in fake papers inquiry. Let's continue. On the front page, Ruto doublespeak. That's on the front page of the Standard. Ruto doublespeak. That's on the splash. Of course, it's well explained. Allow me to take you through it. President Ruto's stance on public fundraising has taken a curious turn. Months after banning harambes for state officers, he now leads multi-million shilling church donations, having recently pledged 120 million shillings to a city church. As criticisms mount, his defense grows, insisting his contributions are a divine duty. That's on the front page of the Standard. Finally, on the front page of the Daily Nation, 124 billion shillings wheat imports sink farmers into losses. That is what is here. Some of the millers are now owned by tycoons who have been in the industry for decades. That is on the front page of the Daily Nation. Of course, Agriculture Minister Mutahi Kagwe is on this to make sure that everything is well streamlined. DG, we're just talking about the issue that's at hand, and a quick question to you before I come to the front page of the dailies. What is your doctrine of leadership in as far as leadership is concerned? How do you define leadership? Being in that space for quite some time, what is the style of leadership, and what do Kenyans really want? What keeps you awake at night that as a leader, this is what you think is good, this is what is godly, and this is what is required by law? So what is your doctrine of leadership?
Just putting people first, simply. If whether elected or not elected, you are serving in any public office. Yes. Whether you are in private or in a public, you put people first. We say nothing for me without me.
Nothing for me?
Without me.
Without me.
Nothing for us without us. So don't purport to know where my shoe pinches. It is the shoe wearer. And that is what is so about leadership. If you consider people, you will involve them in your decision making. One of the major challenges we have in this country is decision making. Because people tend to sit somewhere and they think this is what people want.
Yes.
Simply because I've been elected here as a deputy governor, as an MCA, as who, you tend to think this is what is good for the people. No, involve them, consult them. Let public participation have meaning, and ensure that input is there. As I was walking in, and I'm sorry for walking in some minutes after the show had started, it is as usual the business in Nairobi.
Yeah.
The challenges of our roads. You know, Victor, as I was walking in, you were talking about fakeness in our education system. That thing is very dangerous. Other than getting the wrong people, and it boils down to leadership. Because some of these people, as Professor is saying, is as a result of somebody powerful somewhere trying to call and say, take this, this has been my aid, this was my political, this and that. So in this case, you will know the importance of this fakeness in education when you get out of this country, out there. You will know your system is the most useless. It has been reduced to nothing.
Okay.
So it's a very dangerous thing. Yes. And it again boils down to leadership.
Let's take a quick break. Then I circle back with you. Yeah. Allow me to do that.
Okay.
Shortly after this. Stay with us. Welcome back, Dr. Peter Mbai, who is a leadership and governance expert. He's been in different leadership positions in the country. And Francis Mwangangi, Honorable, who is a Deputy Governor of Machakos County. Today we are talking about leadership and integrity. And what really defines leadership? What do Kenyans really want? DG, I cut you short before we took a break. Continue with your point.
So, leadership, you must involve, carry along with the people that you serve, the people that you lead. And I was making a point that the fact that I'm a deputy governor does not give me absolute authority to decide on behalf of the people whom I might be leading. It is good you involve them so that you get solutions together, you secure ownership of almost everyone, at least a majority, because we are in a democratic society. And then you carry along aspirations of the majority, if not everybody. To me, that is leadership. If we put our people first and we are sincere, now the issue of integrity. That is why I'm talking about sincerity. If you are sincere in what you agree with people, you go ahead and ensure that is implemented in the right manner, then you are exercising the right quality of leadership. Let me give an example to viewers. This country had a document called Vision 2030.
Yes.
Successive regimes, since that document came to be, have been using that document to pinpoint specific projects that were used to siphon a lot of monies from the public coffers. We are saying we are implementing this, but when you look at it keenly, the cost is almost 4 times the issue of costs. And that can be supported by successive Auditor General's report. And even something that brought outcry when we were doing our SGR and a lot of many things. So that, in my view, is not leadership. When I'm using county integrated development plan to implement projects requested for by the people, but instead of implementing that, I use it to siphon money from public coffers in the name of implementing a county integrated development plan. So leadership is sincerity in carrying the aspirations of the people you serve along with you. Yes.
Doctor, do you think, based on what you said, that is basically chapter 6 of our constitution, right? But the aspiration and sincerity is what is the pulse of the country in as far as that is concerned? Are Kenyans feeling the sincerity from the leaders that they elected?
Of course, they are not. And we are in a very bad situation. And sometimes I feel, from where I've gone through, the years I've served and what I know about myself, I feel like it's good for some of us as leaders to apologize to Kenyans. It's good to apologize. It's good to apologize to Kenyans, Victor. And to say, this is not what we had planned. This is not what ought to have happened. This is not what we ought to be subjected Kenyans at a time like this. Leadership and integrity is about getting a good vision, plan it well, then move people towards that goal, but with a lot of honesty. Servant leadership, accountability, being above, being selfless, looking at the needs of the people more than your personal needs. But just today, Victor, we are not talking about tomorrow. I don't know what will happen tomorrow or yesterday. Just today, you're talking about, you're telling farmers to farm, then already the same people, you are approving billions of wheat, worth of wheat, to come and compete with your farmers. Just today, Victor, we are talking about SHA, Auditor General, who is being paid as a state officer, saying that the system is actually in the hands of private people. I'm asking, just today you are saying over thousands of people are earning money, very senior people, from governors, deputy governors, staff. They're earning money with fake titles, fake degrees, Yet we are telling our kids to go to school just today. So the question is, we are already in a crisis. The people watching us, and some of us who contributed and said we are going to make change, some people, because I cannot run away from that, that I was part of the people who actually told people we are going to bring change in Kenya Kwanza. We feel ashamed, extremely pained, extremely hurtful. And I want to say, on behalf of the people who said let's push for this government, some of us we want to feel like we want to apologize and say we are extremely sorry. This is not the headlines we wanted to happen 3 years after the government took power. It is just a mess. And we're asking a question, Victor. Everything rises and falls on leadership. I can tell you this, everything, all what we are saying here is just a matter of, we want to move forward, but there is so much vested interest by the people who ought to protect the people. So much vested interest. You are the father up there. You are supposed to divide milk and bread to all the kids. Let the farmers get fair money for their wheat, right? Let the people get proper medical care. Let us get the kids who go to school, let them get the papers, let them get jobs. But who is the ones controlling private interest. You are the father, but you want to eat with
so
the kids.
How do we redefine that today, moving forward? Because you're putting it so well. But the question is, the Wanjiku is becoming more anxious and more impatient.
Let me tell that in a nutshell now. This is what I want to say. 1 minute. The problem that we have today, let me define it very well. Because when you talk about leadership and governance, leadership is moving people towards a vision.
Yes.
Governance is what makes it possible. How? Systems, processes, structures. The problem in Africa, Vic, leaders don't want to put systems and processes and structures, because when they put them, they'll be caught by them. They want things to flow just like that. No systems, no structures, no nothing. For example, why is there not a rule or a law or anything, cabinet member or something, talking about imports? You cannot be telling farmers to continue farming in Narok and all over the world, the country, and then you are importing wheat, for example. How do you do it?
Yeah.
Those are the questions we're asking here. So when you ask about the way forward, we don't respect systems and processes, and that's the biggest problem in Africa. We want to just pray around, looking at the next election, not the next generation. We want to look for our own prosperity, not the prosperity of the nation. This is the biggest problem. Now you're asking a very difficult question. What do we do going forward? And this is the biggest problem we have. The issue of leadership, Victor, whatever we say here, we can talk about papers, talk about CIDP, talk about strategic plans, talk about launching everything that is being launched every day in this country. If we cannot fix the issue of leadership, if we cannot have leaders with integrity, just a bit, not so much, don't come and be near Jesus Christ here. Just have some basic humanity, that you have been given an opportunity to serve other people. You can only eat one meal. You can only live in one car.
Yeah.
You can only have one house. Why do you want 20?
Why do you want to amass everything?
Okay.
The problem is this, the issue of leadership, integrity, until we get people, 2 people, 3 people, like Nelson Mandela, people who just say, it's not about me, it's about the people. This opportunity have been given by God to serve for this time. I will also die one day. And do your best to empower people so that you can leave a legacy. Until we get there, Victor, we are going to continue in this cycle of eating each ourselves. We are going to be eating ourselves every day here. People get to power, you amass everything, then people cry every day. There's going to be a vicious cycle. It's so painful today that we have people in power who can change the lives of people, but they are not doing that because everybody is eating, including the leaders. Then people are going to die.
When you listen to him, Mheshimiwa, is Wanjiku becoming more resilient to the pressure that she is feeling from the leaders based on what is happening in the country?
The answer is yes. Because when you have an agency like SHA that is receiving billions of shillings, in fact almost 4 times what NHIF was receiving,
yes,
and you can't account for that money, the system is not in the hands of the government. What do you call that? It's a fraud.
That's according to the Auditor General.
Yes.
Yes.
No, simply that is fraud. A system that was designed to serve certain purpose. I was in this forum, seated right where I'm seated, Victor, and I said, this is a fraud from day one. Why?
I remember.
The people leading it are people who have been taken to court as a result of defrauding NHIF. These are people who are leading clinics, if you remember. It is in public knowledge. It is in public record. Everybody knows. But simply because they are well connected today, you can see they are doing what they are doing. Wanjiku is bearing the results of our action. Action of waking up at 6 a.m. and voting in the leadership that we have, whether it is at the county or at national level. But I can tell you, none, and I stand to be corrected, none of the KK administration's policy that is working, properly working. They took over a country that was well functioning, education-wise. Nowadays, if not professors, if not our students, almost everybody must go to the street to at least continue picketing, demonstrating for them to get their basic right. Which country on earth has developed without proper functioning education system? None, zero. Even talk of petro states, zero. You must put quality education at the center of transformation. So, Wanjiku is, you plant and then you get what you planted. And I think that is where we are. We have a devolution that started so well with President Uhuru Kenyatta and the then new constitution, 2010 constitution. We have a devolution today that is dying. Why? We have a central government that is doing literally that is being done by the county. In fact, I don't think there is need for these counties to exist. We have an administration that is setting up the county leadership to fail. Why?
That's a worrying, DJ, that's a worrying
yes, because if you are supposed to, we are talking about health.
Right.
When we are talking Shisha and the siphoning on billions, where is the Council of Governors? Where are the counties? Yet health is devolved. You see, we are talking about food security here, talking about billions. Wheat.
Yeah.
Who doesn't know who? Even you fly to this country, you will say agriculture is devolved, it's a county function. Yet we are talking about national government usurping powers that are supposed or rather functions that are supposed to be carried out by counties. So in this case, we have, I don't understand. There is so much that the central government is supposed to do, and as far as their mandate is concerned, and leave counties to thrive, make counties centers of development transformation. Are we doing that? No. We are behaving as though we are competing. It boils down, it starts and ends with leadership, period.
Leadership, then governance.
And then, of course, just to be frank, just in the newspapers you have read also, the same cancer goes to the county governments. Look at the money that's being said that is not available, again, from the Auditor General.
Yeah.
Okay? But by the time the Auditor General gets a report to say money has been missing, money has been misappropriated, you see now the same cancer goes to the counties because they can see what their big brothers are doing in Nairobi. So everybody is in a race to enrich themselves. I said I have served both in the executive and I can tell you the amount of money that is not banked in the counties, you'll be shocked. The amount of money collected from those people, women, sad, you know, parking, roads, it's not, now they are quiet. And let me tell you what happens, again, the issue of institutions, the institutions that are supposed to unearth, there is always something happening. You never see, a lot of money is lost. Revenue. People pay money in the counties. 47. These should be billionaires, but they are still holding out to say, give us more money in the county, in the national government. The counties were supposed to be centers of economic production revolution. They were supposed to make money. They were supposed to have productions. They were supposed to go and actually generate wealth, not to continue begging every day. But if you ask yourself 10 years later, okay, this is like 12th or 13th year of devolution, we should be seeing revenue increasing every year. Because the money that's getting from the national is not enough. It's supposed to spur economic development. Yeah. Now, we have a problem, both in the national government and the county government. Go and ask people on the ground, what exactly can you say out of this 40 billion since 2013 has come? What can we see for it? We have a problem. Let's not say just the national government. It's a problem also in the county government. And let me tell you, governance is exercised in two levels in Kenya. Governance and the president. You cannot run away. That is where you have the power of governing. You can govern. You have the power to put in structures and systems. But the question is, do we want to put them? Let me ask you, do we have a centralized system of procurement in the counties? We don't have. Some are using manual. Some are using requests for proposals, RFPs. Some of them, they are doing all manner of things. Go to any county and talk to contractors. They are crying tears. They are never paid on time. What do? You do cherry picking. When money comes, you know who is going to be paid and who is going to wait for another 2 years. We have a problem with the systems in this country. We have a problem. And do you know what's going to happen, Victor? We continue crying. But remember, people are watching. We either wait until Jesus comes back to save us from all this, or we take up, or we go to the streets and say, enough is enough.
That has to start from somewhere. From where I come from, they say that fish starts rotting from the head.
Can I tell you this? I say that again, and I'll repeat here. It is a principle of leadership. Leadership, everything rises and falls on leadership. It's about the person. Like, for example, I'll ask you a question. We were all seated clapping when the system said, we are aware we have over 10,000 people with fake papers, and the order was done. We want them out. The question is, are they out? That's the question. Then what is going to happen? Now, it is possible. All these things cannot happen if leadership is not aware. It is not possible.
So how do you draw the line, DG? Because IBEC is here, that is very important, and the national government, and you have meetings regularly to brainstorm and to take stock of what's happening. At what point do you think Wanjiku will say there is some feel of goodness from the top up to that lowest point of governance?
When Wanjiku will be receiving what he or she is supposed to get. Yes, in a proper manner. I differ slightly with the Daktari.
Go ahead.
He has served for over 10 years within devolution and maybe national government. I'll tell him what he is doing is an excuse, period. If you hear anybody blaming counties of doing this or that, who has the DCI? Who has the ESCC? Who has the all benefits from the reports from Auditor General? Action needs to be taken. It is an excuse to say this is happening, this is happening, it boils down to leadership. We need action, period. If Mwangangi is a thief, he deserves to be in a committee, not enjoying freedom here. It is as simple as that. So issue of blaming governors, it is the issue of just generalizing so that we make it political and it ends there. And that is what we have done in major crises in this country. We start blaming that, we start blaming this, and we run away from what we are supposed to do. That is not, is it the governors who are making the central government to do what they are doing in terms of usurping what is supposed to be done by counties? The fact that there is one or two governors misbehaving, does it mean every governor is misbehaving? Suppose that there is a governor who is perceived or is corrupt. Is it a reason enough not to take action? And we start blaming each other so that we make Kenyan people suffer and lose? That is an excuse. Whoever is supposed to hold us to account, he or she should do his work. It's not a question of just blaming. That this blaming game must come to an end and fix. Do what you are supposed. Remember words of the gracious lady Mother Teresa. Victor, you do your duty and I do mine, and together great things will happen. You see, let's not continue with this blame game. That is how Wajiko is going to lose. Okay? So, coming back to your sentiment, I think what needs to be done is let's have a leadership at national level that is focused on what they are supposed to do. I've heard from this administration, many of the leaders, they say, we went out and promised the country universal health coverage. That is very okay. But now that you are in power, if that is not your function as central government, call those who own that function, tell them, this is what we promised, this is our policy, we want it implemented this way. Okay? If it is agriculture, the same. Allow the counties to do what they are supposed to do and don't withhold the resources. Daktari is forgetting one thing, that the taxation regime at national level has meant some counties like Machakos, we have not increased even a single cent. I want to invite him into Machakos. When Governor Wavinya Deti took over as a governor, we had almost 222 M-Pesa pay bills, and it was collapsed to 2. One for health, another one for the rest of the services. We have seen that collection goes. Come to Machakos. We don't interact with money. And anybody doing that, everybody knows is criminal. So it's not like it is every governor in this country who is not doing anything. And when we are generalized like that, and we see what is happening at national level, it leaves us disappointed, some of us. Okay?
Yes, so Vic, what we are saying...
Is there hope?
Yeah.
I see we only have 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Is there hope?
Yeah, 1 minute. What we are saying, as we talk with the Mheshimiwa here, the common Mwananchi is asking themselves, all the auditor reports since 2013 about what is happening in the counties, for example, and the national government, who has been taken to court? You know, we can talk here and say, you know, what is happening. The Mwananchi is asking the taxpayer, all the reports that have been given, including this one that you are holding there, finally, who was taken to court? What happens? Things just get hushed, number one. Number two, you speak about agriculture being taken over by national government, you know, health being taken over by national government. We are on the 13th year of devolution. IBEC has been happening, is it how many times a year? IBEC has been happening at least annually. What steps have governors done so far to make sure they get back the powers that they have, the functions that they have? That's what Wajiko is asking. So we cannot continue complaining here as leaders in this. So is
there hope for Wajiko?
That's what I'm saying.
Time is running and 2027 is
that's what I'm saying.
Is becoming impatient.
We are talking here because it's good to talk.
Yeah.
I'm a product of devolution. That's something I love because even here we are seated is the county government.
Yes.
So we are saying, please, Wajiko cannot understand that we have been complaining for 13 years. What is this you have been talking about in national government? Why can't you go to court or International Court of Justice or whatever, Hague, and get your functions if that is what you take? Because continue complaining that national government, they took the health function. National government, they took the agriculture function. What are we doing? Wajiko doesn't want to see stories. They want to know.
Is it about policies?
You cannot keep on. Look here, you can. We already said this. We don't want to put systems and institutions. No? We don't want to respect institution and even the Schedule 4. of the constitution, because there are some people who are benefiting from it up here.
Yeah.
But the question is, we want to see governors also doing something, because they cannot continue complaining the same thing for 10 years, saying, you know, the national government took up our functions. What are they doing to
Very
get
good.
back? Is there hope? Only if you can
let me ask you this question. So, is Wanjiku being fed on sincerity?
Wanjiku is being fed on some circus, some game, musical game of chairs. 1 year, year out, year 3, year 4. It's unfortunate, and I can tell you, Wanjiku is a loser. That mama who goes to buy sugar and pays tax out of that woman, that there, boda who goes to pay, and lipa 200 shillings, 100 shillings, and pays tax because of wearing that boda person. That is a person who is suffering as we come here to talk about.
So how do you change that? My last question to you, how do you change that?
Very simple. People have now to rise and have something called consciousness on their own, because leaders will not help them. I can tell you, it's a big problem. The people have to organize themselves and make their own decisions.
Mwangangi will change Machakos.
The people have to rise up and demand change. It's not very possible.
He will change Machakos.
I think Victor, I think we respect...
I saw you on Sunday somewhere.
Yes.
You're a celebrity.
I don't know. But I think...
Go ahead.
One, let us respect institutionalism.
Yes.
Please...
for the sake of something delivered to Wanjiku.
Yes. Whenever I go to any forum like this, one thing, and I say it elsewhere, if I go to Rwanda or to any of these neighboring countries and I hear anybody touching on Kenya, I will defend this country like nobody's business. Anything I raise anywhere, it is for the good of the country.
Yeah.
When we talk of high taxation regime, it is affecting even those who are governing us at national level and even at county level. So we must challenge and will continue challenging these policies until they are made in such a way that the country is going to benefit as opposed to individuals. Let us put our people first, let us put our country first, and we want the best for this country. Not for some people to feel it is our time to eat and the likes. So going forward, on top of respecting and adhering to principles of institutionalism, I think it is also very important for leaders to ask themselves, myself included, why was I elected?
Yeah.
Am I doing and adhering to the expectations of the people who elected me to the position that I am in? We have a role to play. Those at the political arena and those others who are out here, professionals, academia, bishops, clergy, everybody. We have a role, all of us, to play, because all of us elected these governments, okay? And when I refer to governments, it's both with the two levels. So I agree with the Dr. Let's not keep on complaining, but let's all come up with solutions and implement fully our constitution.
Thank you. Finally, you hosted former deputy governor on Sunday.
Deputy President.
What happened? You received him.
Some of us believe we elected a deputy president.
Okay.
Yes. We have and he was removed by people who can now not even go and address their constituents. Their stomachs, they were sorted at that time, but now the challenge and the masses. So what we are doing first and foremost is there's a cultural grouping that we were once part of. Our leaders, our spiritual leaders, and everybody have brought us together.
Which one is that?
The Ngema.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes. So that we can trade together, we can take care of our economic welfare first, because it is very important. You know, part of the mountain does a lot of agriculture. The other part does a lot of business. So we can bring our people together and trade.
Politically speaking?
If that can produce something good. If any village is united, if any sub-location is united, if any location is united, if any sub-county is very well united,
yes.
if any region in this country is united and is one, the country is on the road of to becoming one. And that is what we are doing.
Okay, so
yes.
Just one question. What is the level of cooperation between Wiper and the party that is yet to be named by former Deputy President?
We are brothers and sisters now.
Vic, let me correct.
Dr. I've that statement.
Vic, let me correct you a bit.
Okay.
The Honorable Rigathi Gachagua is not the impeached Deputy President and the former. The case is still in court. What happened is some monkey business. He is still the Deputy President, as far as we know.
No.
Listen,
No.
there's a case in court. No. Legally speaking, let me tell you something.
No.
And now let me ask you, what happens if the court declares that impeachment and everything was wrong, and he's said to be the Deputy President?
So we have two Deputy Presidents in the country.
Thank you. Now keep it there. That's what I'm saying. Go hold on your horses. And I want to, please, and you can mention this to your colleagues in the media. Please kindly, when you refer to Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, just make sure, just know there's a case going on, and anything can happen. Okay, we have a very strong battalion of lawyers, and anything is possible. Let me answer your question the way you said. Let me tell you, this is what is going to happen. In a nutshell,
we are out of time.
In a nutshell, this is what is going to happen. The party that is coming up, the party that is coming up, led by Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, already as we speak, by the time it is launched in 2 weeks, all the people who are in UDA, about 6 million will move out, okay, and get to the new party. The new party is moving out from Mount Kenya. People have been associating Rigathi Gachagua with Mount Kenya region. No, that's why you saw yesterday what's happening to Ukambani. The next thing will be to go to across the country.
Can you hold
and that's the next.
Are you promising me to be here in the next 2 weeks?
I'll be here.
Thank you.
Victor, again,
thank you.
Let me tell you something. Just 1 second.
All right.
Regarding Gachagua, the fact that he was around, everything came to a standstill. I can tell you.
So in Machakos, so much that you didn't see.
In Machakos, you compare that with when the president came around, you will not believe.
And that is the next big thing, Victor.
Okay.
Keeping this lead.
Okay.
And that's the solution you were asking earlier.
Dr. Peter Mbai, thank you so much.
You have photos you can compare.
He's a leadership and governance expert. I will not finish this discussion. And Deputy Governor Machakos, but then I'll have to take a look at those photos, if it's true.
Just check.
Asante sana. Francis Mwangangi representing great people of Machakos. Asante sana for always gracing my show, gentlemen. We are taking a break and we come back. GMK continues, but on the other side of Red. My name is Victor Lo. Have a good morning. Bye-bye.